How's it going, guys? For a long time, my saws have just been piled up here on top of my workbench. Today, we're gonna fix that problem. So in this video, I'm gonna be showing you how to build this French cleat hand saw holder that has a really clever way of holding the saws in place. All right, guys, now like I said before, for a long time now, my saws have either just been laying on top of my workbench or hung on a nail. And I really needed a better way to get them up and out of the way and organized. Now, I've seen several adaptations of this type of saw holder. This is just my version of it. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how it works and how to build one for yourself. Basically, it's a series of small boxes with a slit in the middle, and then there's a free-floating dowel on the inside. So as you push your saw up through the slot, the dowel moves out of the way, allowing the saw to pass through. And then once you release it, the dowel drops down and friction and gravity hold it in place. Now, it does such a good job of that, you'll see that even when I pull down on this, it won't move at all. But when you lift up, the dowel releases and the saw comes out. So I'm gonna get in here and show you exactly how I built this. But first, guys, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. Now, as usual, I will have links to all the tools that I used in the description below, as well as digital build plans that you can download and build this for yourself. Now let's get to work. First thing we're gonna do is cut down our 2x4 pieces over at the miter saw. I'm gonna mark the board at 2 1/4 inches and then just cut a block to begin with. Then I'll mark it at 2 inches and move the saw to an 18-degree angle. Then I'll position the board at that 2-inch mark and make the cut. This is gonna create the wedge that our dowel is gonna ride on inside each of the saw boxes. Next, I'll return the saw back to 0 degrees, mark the same board at 2 inches from the point, and then make another cut, creating another wedge. Then I'm just gonna continue this process alternating between that 18-degree and 0-degree angles until I have 6 wedges. Then I'm gonna turn my attention to the table saw where I'm gonna cut out the back panel for our tool holder. Then the other components like the locking bar and our 1/4 inch front pieces and top pieces. First, I rip the 1/4 inch plywood to the height I need and then cross cut the width. Next, I'm going to mark out the location for those wedges on the back panel. Now I'm ready to install those internal pieces onto the back panel. I'm going to do this by applying some wood glue and then carefully putting it in place, making sure it lines up with our marks. Then I'll tack it in place with some brad nails. You could also use CA glue for that. Then I'll move on to the wedges, placing them in the same way, making sure that the angled part of each wedge is facing the flat edge of the one before it. Then I'm ready to install those 1/4 inch front pieces. Then again, I'm going to attach this with some wood glue. I'm also going to apply some CA glue to tack it in place until that wood glue dries. Then I carefully put it in place, aligning it with the flat edge of each wedge, and then I continue this down the assembly, leaving an 1/8 inch gap between each. And once I've done that, you can really see how this assembly is coming together. And before moving on, I'm just going to test fit my saw into each slot. Then I'm ready to start cutting my dowels. I'm using a 7/8 inch dowel for this. and I'm cutting it into 1 7/16 inch lengths. Then I'll take it over to the sander to ease those edges so that it fits down into its spot but still moves freely. Then I just drop each dowel down into place. Once the dowels are in place, we're ready to put on our top covers, and I'm going to attach these in the same way we did before with wood glue and CA glue. I put each of these in place very carefully, making sure that I leave that 1/8 inch gap between each one, and then I tack it in from the top with brad nails. With that, our assembly is pretty much finished, but I do want to hang this on my French cleat wall. So I'm going to create a French cleat the length of our tool holder, then put it in place on the back of the assembly with wood glue and brad nails. Now, because of the nature of how this tool holder works, you have to lift up on the saws to remove them. Because of that, I want to make sure that I can lock this tool holder in place on those French cleats. So I'm going to countersink some screw holes in the bottom corners and then cut a locking bar to fit behind it. Once you place the tool holder on the wall, you slide the locking bar in place below the wall cleat and screw the two together, locking that tool holder in place and making sure it can't lift up as you're removing your saws. And with that, our French cleat handsaw holder is complete. This is a cleaner, much more organized way to store my saws. It works with every saw I've tried to put in it, and I couldn't be happier with the result. All right, guys, that is it for our French cleat floating saw holder. Don't forget, this video is part of a series where we've built a bunch of French cleat tool holders to mount on your wall. So if you haven't seen those, I'll have that playlist linked in the description below, along with build plans if you want to build these for yourself. And if you guys have a different solution for mounting your saws up on the wall, make sure you let us know down in the comments section. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.